is just like you to achieve business success. So, we've been talking about leadership and some of the strategies that you need to employ in order to be able to successfully motivate your team to achieve the results that you desire for both your business and for your life. And in my last couple of videos, I went through the 6 leadership styles with you, the ones that you need to be aware of, identify the one that you might default to. And then, of course, about the awareness around which members of your team require the different styles of leadership for them. But there's not just the leadership of your team that will impact the ultimate outcome that you have for your business. It's the way you lead yourself that counts as well. And in many cases, it's actually more important in the first instance than what you're doing with the team. Because if you're not showing up with the right attitude, in the right headspace, then you've certainly not got much hope of being able to be in a place to be able to effectively motivate your team. So, as I've said here in the title of this video, preparation affects your performance as a leader and your ability to persevere when times get tough. Now, we all know about the tough times. We're all in business, so we know that they come around often, and I'm sure that we've all got more than one tale to tell about tough times in business over the last 18 months especially. And our friends in the Greater Sydney area are definitely going through tough times right now. But the key here is preparation. It's the first of those 3 P's of preparation, performance, and perseverance. And preparation may look slightly different for each of you. And there's some really standout things that you can do, which you can take a leaf out of some of the most famous business owners in the world's books. Just simple little habits that you can incorporate into your day to ensure that you give yourself the best chance to have a clear head, a great mindset, and the energy and the capacity to be a great leader. The first of those things is having a routine that you stick to virtually no matter what. So that usually starts with getting up at the same time each day, getting in some form of personal time. So whether that's to do exercise, to read, something as simple as just going out for a walk, whatever that looks like for you, maybe going to the gym, etc. Make sure that you do it, and it's almost like a religious thing. We know that self-care is super, super important just under normal circumstances, but extra important under the circumstances that we're at right now. Getting to the workshop at the same time each day, making sure that you, if it is your role still to open up the shop, that you're there before the rest of the team so that they're not waiting for you to get in. Making sure that you have enforced the implementation of your daily meeting rhythms with the team so that the team knows every day before we start, we have that 5 or 7 minute meeting, the daily huddle, the toolbox meeting, whatever you want to call it. So that you're imparting what's going to be happening for the day. And remember, that kind of structure is very important for certain members of your team who love structure, who love to know what's next and what they're doing for the rest of the day. It's really important that in that routine of your day, you've got structured time, whether you're on the tools or not, to do those things that the business requires of you, like answering emails or phone messages, having designated time in the day to do that, not getting called to your computer or to the phone every 5 seconds. Especially if you're on the tools, because that of course affects your ability to get your jobs done, to get them invoiced, and to sell as many hours as you can. Making sure that in addition to the morning huddle, that you've got the after lunch huddle as well. This is something that we recommend all of our engine room clients implement, because it's usually the afternoon where the time gets away from you. And if you're not checking in when your team comes back from lunch as to where their jobs are at, you may not find out until it's too late that that job's blown out and that car won't be going back to that customer that afternoon, or you have to stay and do overtime to get it done. So that's your morning huddle and your after lunch huddle. Very important. Only need to be 5 to 7 minutes in length. But if you haven't yet implemented something like that, I highly recommend you do. Then you've got to have your afternoon structure that ensures that you get out of there on time every day. Because if you're like most of the people that we work with, you've got little ones at home, certainly a significant other, even fur babies, and they want to see you and spend time with you. And if you're working 12-hour days every day, 5 to 7 days a week, then you're not only going to be tired yourself, but you're probably going to have a family at home tired of not being able to spend time with you. So you've got to make sure that your afternoon is structured so that your customers know when the final closing time is for the business, so that you're out of there on time. You might even have delegated close up to your team by now. So make sure that that they're not throwing things to you in the afternoon that mean that you don't get out on time. If it's their job, then make sure they're living up to the roles and responsibilities in their job to close the shop so that you are leaving. And all of these things, of course, require systemization and implementation and the perseverance to carry them through. Remember, your team can sometimes suffer from change fatigue, and that occurs where you've got lots of ideas and you're trying to implement all the time. But then when you implement, you get busy, you look away, and then the team sees that you're busy again and they just go back to doing things the way they were. So this is why it's important that you have the energy to be able to reset your team when it's required. If you have dropped the ball or you got busy and some of the team took that opportunity to slack off a bit, you need the perseverance to get back on track. You need energy to do that, and you need a great mindset to be able to do that. You need perseverance when one or more of your technicians resigns unexpectedly, or there's an accident, or somebody is ill and they can't come to work, and that puts you back on the tools. There's mindset that goes with you accepting that that is what is required of you at the moment, as well as the forethought and the vision to know that you've got to get back on the recruitment trail. And many of you will have discovered of late that recruiting is not easy, which is why we should always be recruiting. We should never stop. You never know when you are going to have that ideal candidate, that ideal team player come by, and you should always be open to accepting resumes and who you might be able to fit into your team. So how your discipline is structured for yourself is really going to impact how your day runs, how you show up for the team, your ability to motivate them. If you've got poor personal discipline, if you don't have a self-care routine, if you're not exercising, if you indulge in a few too many beverages or foods your thing, or you've got other unhealthy pastimes that you take part in, then all of that is going to show up in how you show up and your ability to lead your team. So I just gently ask you today, your exercise from this video is to have a think about what your own personal discipline is like. Is it good? Is it strong? You're a creature of habit and those habits are good. Or are you, a bit lacking in areas where you need to stand up? You've got to be more regular with your team meetings, your daily huddles, maybe implement that one after lunch as well. And you've got to stand by your word. So if you're not doing what you said you would do to your team, for your team, then have a think about why not? Why aren't you able to keep those commitments? You're asking them to keep commitments as being part of your team. And that's something that they want to see from you as well. The old saying, you've got to lead by example. So let me know in the comments whether you caught this live or on replay, and let me know how your own personal discipline is going, and any areas that you identify where you could be stronger. All right, I trust you found that useful, and we'll be back tomorrow with some more tips on leadership.